A good number of transitions have a custom feature. I want to show you several transitions with the custom button. And some transitions need some extra explanation, so I'll show you them as well in this lesson. Let's go to Working Files, go to Projects, and let's open up 0805 Specialized Transitions. We're going to start by revisiting Start. I'm going to go to Video Transitions here and scroll on down to Iris. Iris is the group of transitions that has the most transitions that have the Start option. And of these 7 transitions here, the only ones that don't have a Start option are Iris Points and Iris Shapes. So I'm going to grab Iris Box and bring it over here, put it on that intersection there, or that edit point. Expand the view a little bit here in the timeline so you can see things better and move things over a little bit like so. Let me make this transition a little bit longer, spread it out a little bit so you can see a little bit more of it as well. There we go. And now I'm going to change this to show actual sources because we want to work with actual sources when we work with the Start option. I just want to revisit this because I want to explain it in a little bit more detail here, plus show you a couple of transitions that kind of go beyond just the standard Start process. So here we go. We can just look at the transition here and see where it starts. And what we want to do is just change that a little bit so we can reveal the next guy. Pulling it up here to the right a little bit. There we go. So we can reveal where it starts in the next clip. That's what that amounts to. So you can come out and reveal that fellow in the next clip. If we click reverse, things change and you need to kind of play that through. You want to decide if you're going to reverse it. That means you're taking the existing scene and shrinking it down to reveal what's behind it. So you might want to say, that doesn't quite work. Let me pull this thing down a little bit to properly reveal that. There we go. Like so. There we go. Right down to there. So that Start there in the Iris collection. I'm going to go down to the Zoom collection here. 3 of the 4 transitions in Zoom have a Start option. The only one that doesn't is Boxes. Let me just grab Zoom here and bring that in. Replace the Iris box. Here's Zoom. You see it has a Start as well. Let's just see how the Zoom works. Basically, we're doing something similar to what we just saw over the Iris world, but this time it brings up the whole image. See that? So let me just change where that starts by covering up the previous one. That's sort of the purpose here. And that would be Zoom. I can reverse that again and show you reverse as well. This time we're going to take the current scene and shrink it down. So that's more of a reveal. So again, you might want to move it down a bit so that it properly covers up or reveals the next image that's important to you, like so. There we go. Okay, that's the Zoom. The cross zoom has both a start and an end, which is unusual. The only transition that does. Let me drag that over. It has a start and an end because this is kind of an unusual transition. Let's watch it. It kind of zooms in and then, whoa, zooms back out like that. You have both a start and an end. So zoom in a little bit. That way you can focus on where you want the start to be. We need this bird to be in the center of the screen, so I need to pull this circle up to pull the bird down. So let me do that. Lift it up a little bit here, and then now you see the bird come down. That's good. We're going to zoom in on him. Then zoom out on the next one. So we need to bring this guy over by pulling this to the right to move him left. There we go. Let's see how that works. Like there. Pretty cool. So that's a cross zoom, both a start and an end. One transition has just an end. Let me go to that one. It's up here in the 3D motion. Go to tumble away, which makes sense because you're tumbling away to something. So you're going out. Put that in there instead. Look on that to make it active in the Effect Controls panel. Scroll on down here. You got the out point there instead of an in point, the ending part of the transition. So let's just see how that works. It's going to tumble away like that. Pretty cool. So you want to tumble away pretty much onto the next fellow there. So I'm going to take this guy and move him over. Right on top of our friend there, our little bird. So we're going to tumble away onto the next bird, like something like that. There we go. So that's how the start and end point options work. I want to move on now to some transitions that have custom buttons. The custom buttons usually refer to some number of things that go on inside the transition. So we'll go on over to Slide because it has quite a few that have that custom button. I'm going to go over to Sliding Boxes first, drag that in. There you go. Scroll on down, and if a transition has a custom option, it'll always be here at the bottom. So I click that, and it opens up this little dialog box. Here it just says number of bands. Let's see how many bands I got there. That's the number of bands. They kind of slide over and sort of bump into place there. Boom, 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 like that. We can change that number. Click on the custom button. Change it from 8 to 20, for example. Click OK. And now it'll be a whole lot more. So they slide in there and up, like that. So that is how a custom box works. When you talk about numbers, some effects have custom boxes that relate to 2 numbers where you've got, let's say, some number of rows and columns. Let's go to the multi-spin here and drag that over. That's one of those with custom box that has two things. Let me show you how that works. Here's the multi-spin. You got these guys, little spinning boxes there in rows and columns. So click on custom and you can change the number of horizontal and vertical boxes. So we'll go to, let's say 8 horizontal and 6 vertical. So it's 48 altogether. That'll be messy. Here we go. Wow. And you can give them all borders too. How about that? So we'll give them some borders while we're at it. Really emphasize them. Here we go. All right. And one of these guys actually has 3, and that's swirl. Let's go down to swirl here. Drag that over there. Well, let's take a look at swirl first. Here we go. As the whole thing is spinning, the boxes inside are spinning, so something extra is going on there. You can define how many times those guys spin within this one spin here. So let's go over to look at that. Click on swirl and look up the custom button there. You've got horizontal and vertical. 4 across, 3 down. Let's change that to, let's say, 6 across, 4 down. And then it looks at rate. How many times is it going to spin? Let's make it 300%. One more 0 will do. There you go. Now those little guys, those little boxes inside there will spin like mad as we go across here. See how fast they go around there? Or I can change the rate to something less than 100%. So I click on there and let's just say 25%. It won't spin anywhere near as fast now. Here we go. Just kind of gradually spin around just a little bit at a time. That's how the custom feature works if you're talking about some number of things appearing on the screen. There are a few other options you're going to run across if you work with the custom button. Let me go back up to 3D here. There's one in here called flip over. There it is. Drag that in. Look at its custom button. There we go. And it has this fill color. So what's that? Let's just take a look at flip over. So it flips over and it has this color in the background. So your option inside there is to change the color. So you can change the fill color to something else. Let's make it really obvious so you can't miss it there. And then it says, how many bands do you want to have? Let's have 5 bands. Let's just take a look at that. Here we go. One scene flips over to the next. Kind of garish, but I want to make sure you see how that works. Another transition has kind of an unusual custom feature. Let's go to dissolve. Down here to dissolve a little ways, it's random invert. This is kind of a wild transition. Click on that. Look at this one. Let's watch it. If you look at what's happening here, you see that you're inverting the color of the first scene to that edit point, and then you begin to reveal the next scene, like so. So let's take a look at its custom box. It says, how many little boxes do you want? Well, let's not worry about that right now, but it says invert source or invert destination. In other words, you can invert the source to reveal the destination, or you can just have the source go away in boxes and then reveal the destination with an inverted look. Click OK. Let's watch that one. Here we go. So now we're going to reveal the destination, meaning the B clip. It's showing up inverted like this. There it is. And then eventually it goes back to normal. That's what that little box does. The final thing I want to show you is something called a gradient wipe. So let's go down to wipe here. Open that up. Gradient wipe. And by the way, a number of the wipe transitions have custom buttons in them. Put on the gradient wipe and add that one here. So the moment you add it, you get this gradient wipe settings dialog box. You don't even have to click on something. You have to select a gradient wipe image. This is the default image that's built in. If you click OK, then what happens is that gradient is used to help you make a transition. A gradient lets parts of another scene show through. We're in the dark areas, and you gradually reveal the dark areas to finally reveal the whole next clip. So a gradient allows you to reveal what's below it depending on how black or white the gradient is. If you go back here and click on that and click on custom, then click on select image, you can select an image to use for a gradient. You can have a black and white or grayscale image that you can use, or any other image that you use will be converted to grayscale internally. So let's just go down here to the main drive, program files, Adobe, then go down to Adobe Premiere Pro, where I just happen to know there's a bunch of stuff. I go down to presets and go down to textures. There are a whole bunch of graphic files here that I can use to serve as a gradient. Let me just scroll on down here and select something that might work pretty well as a gradient. There you go. Let's try this one here, this water image. Click open. That'll replace the default one there. I can make it softer or a harder edge change. I'll make it hard edge so you can watch it. Now we'll watch how that works. Remember how that image looked? It kind of just had a gradual change in tonality from dark to light. Here's that change going on. You can use that to make a transition. You can take a graphic and use it to create a transition like this, depending on the grayscale, and it gradually works its way across like that. Let me show you some unusual transitions. I'm going to go up here again, close these guys down a bit, and scroll on down a little bit here to the special transitions, special effect, drag displace over. If you read displace, it says the RGB channel displaces the B pixels. Boy, you can hardly notice it going on here, but there you are. It just kind of does that. I'm not really sure how valuable that particular effect is or that transition is. Go to texture or texture eyes, click on that one. You can see that the image A is mapped on the image B, which is kind of cool. You can see them both together like that, overlapping. If I were to use this, let's say, on this one, the scenic one here, apply texture eyes to that, it's even more dramatic. I'll spread this out a bit here so you can really see how it looks. There we go. Let's take a look at that guy. The two of them work together there for a while. Pretty cool. That's texture eyes. And 3D is similar. 3D gives you this 3D look. Not that people are going to pop on 3D glasses for this, but it gives you the 3D look. Let's move up to map here. Two transitions here in map. I'll drag channel map over. Channel map says, how do you want to have colors mapped? Basically, you want to have a color like red being mapped to something else. So you can say the source A red is going to destination green or something like that. So instead of red going to red, I'll take source A green to go to red. I'll go source A blue to go to green, and source A red to go to blue. It looks something like this when you go like from one to the next. It's kind of an abrupt change there as we go from one to the next. Luminance map, the last transition we're going to look at here. I'll click on that. It says that it takes the luminance of A and maps it on image B. Wherever it's bright, you see the bright areas more prominently, and wherever it's dark, you see it less prominently, and it maps them together. So that just gives you a sense of what you can expect if you click on the custom button inside a transition, and also what you can expect if you open up the map transitions and the special effect transitions.